Good morning. I'm Tim DeNoble, Dean of the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design. I'm pleased to welcome you to the 2015 commencement ceremony. Will everyone please stand while a duet sings the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you, Samantha and Christiana. What a lucky class you have. When I was in school, we could only play a Walkman, so. Before we proceed with our program, I'd like to introduce Dr. Kirk Schultz, president of Kansas State University, who will join me in congratulating our graduates as they cross the stage. It is our honor to have President Schultz join us today. It's certainly a pleasure to work with him in crafting the future of our university and college. In my time here, I've come to know Dr. Schultz as a tireless advocate for excellence embedded in our college and in the university. Thanks for being here, Kirk. I would also like to introduce the members of our faculty and staff who are present today. Please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. And would the faculty please stand when your name is announced and remain standing until everyone's been introduced. Beginning at your right, we have Brent Chamberlain, Jessica Canfield, Vladimir Kristich, Steve Davidson, 2015 Wayne Hunt McElwee Faculty Award winner Blake Bellinger, LaBarbara Wigfall, Alan Hastings, Bruce McMillan, Gary Coates, Susanna Siepel Coates, Dustin Headley, Houston Gibson, Alpa Nare, Youngjin Kim, Catherine Nessie, Chip Winslow, Rod Troyer, Ann Beamish, Judy O'Buck-Gordon, coordinator of the PhD program, David Sachs, director of research, scholarly, and academic activity, Tim Kane, John Keller, Katie Kingery-Page, Todd Gabbard, 2015 Trainer Architects Faculty Award recipient, Michael Gibson, Matthew Knox, Stephanie Raleigh, Catherine Ankerson, and Lynn Awano. Thank you so much for being here. And while we were talking about faculty, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Dean Emeritus Dennis Law and his wife Linda, who are here today. He's setting a very dangerous precedent. I was kind of hoping when I was through being dean, I wouldn't have to come to these. There are other members of the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design who I would also like to thank. Lisa Last, Academic Advisor and Director of Academic Services, and this, by the way, is her first class in that role. Academic Advisor, Susan Lanou, Director of Student Recruitment. Tom Jackson, Communication and Events Coordinator. Becky O'Donnell, Project Coordinator for Student Services, and Lisa Schubert, Assistant to the Dean, and many others who participated today. Thank you for your combined efforts. And thank you to the McCain Auditorium staff for the wonderful job that you do every year for our rehearsal, which lasted longer than this event, and our ceremony. So please accept our sincere appreciation for your hard work. So this is a wonderful and joyous day. A day all of us, graduates, faculty, staff, administration, parents, guardians, friends, and siblings have worked for and can celebrate together. Like all the major rituals in our lives, this occasion is a threshold to another life. Together we can conduct and enjoy today's ritual, giving it the gravity and dignity it deserves. While your children, friends, charges, relatives, or siblings have passed from students to graduates in yesterday's ceremony of graduate commencement, today we celebrate their achievements. They sit before you armed with drive, expertise, craft, and acumen developed and tested during their education. In their time here, students have been exposed to the rigors of practice through internship and have felt the pains and joys of being thrust into foreign and strange cultures while studying abroad. They have been subjected to constant scrutiny by some of the world's most accomplished educators and critics and have upheld the very high standard of performance set over the years by over 6,500 alumni who have passed through the crucible that is Seton Hall. These graduates are prepared, tested, and more than ready for the challenges of professional practice in this age. We are proud of the model that we have of education in the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design, and are motivated by our belief that design thinking is an integral component of education and vital to the betterment of our world. Through their highly developed planning and design skills and leadership capabilities, these graduates, are well prepared to inventively apply their knowledge in confronting the overarching concerns of our society, including stewardship of the environment, social equity, economic viability, and the thing that may have gotten us all into this in the first place, aesthetic delight. Please enjoy today's ceremony knowing that your involvement in your graduate's life is in every way as significant and worth celebrating as that of our faculty, staff, and administration. You furrowed the foundation in preparation for the structure that we've added. Together we've done great things and can be assured that our society will benefit from our efforts. At this time, I would like to introduce our commencement speaker, Jan Burton. Jan is an international business leader who has lived and worked in Europe and the U.S., holding executive positions at numerous Fortune 500 companies, and following was a CEO of her own consulting company until 2014. Dedicated to design and environmental sustainability, she co-founded the company Rhino Cubed to create tiny homes from upcycled shipping containers. Jan, who earned a Bachelor of Science in Business and a minor in French from Kansas State University, believes the university has given her many opportunities in life and is committed to giving back. She is a founder of the Connor Burton Aviation Foundation, established to help aspiring pilots achieve their dreams at Kansas State University's Salina Aviation program. The foundation has given more than 140 scholarships and supported K-State's flight teams and other programs. She also serves on the Kansas State University Foundation's Board of Directors, sitting on the governance and development committees. She's also passionate about music. She serves on numerous music boards, including the Colorado Music Festival, E-Town, and the University of Colorado's College of Music, and regularly houses musicians in her house, which I'm sure is fun. And she is dedicated to creating a sustainable future for orchestras and musicians. So would you please help me welcome Jan Burton.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning. Good morning back there. I'd like to tell you a story that began about 1.5 years ago. I'd been working on one of these nonprofit music projects, and I worked so hard on this project, I literally worked myself out of my consulting business. Feeling a little dejected and a little sorry for myself, I figured I needed to do something completely different. So I started planning an adventure that I had thought about for years to visit all of the national parks in my 1961 Airstream trailer. At the same time, this is late 2013, my friend Sam Austin, an architect, began talking to me about his idea to build tiny homes from shipping containers. Now let me tell you about Sam. I had met him because he had designed a custom home that I had bought a couple of years before. And when I moved into that house, I called up Sam and said, hey, could you come over here and tell me what was your vision and your thought process of turning a 1928 cabin into a contemporary modern home? And he was happy to do so. That had never happened to him before. And so we, at that moment, discovered our mutual love of art, architecture, and music. And we became friends as I started involving him as an artist in my music projects. Well, Sam had been following the tiny home movement that had emerged from the recession in 2009. Many people had been evicted from their homes, had lost a job, or some people were just wanting to live a simpler, less expensive lifestyle. Sam was convinced that a shipping container would make a perfect building envelope for small structures. He had been ridiculed by a lot of people who he had taken this idea to, so he thought maybe Jan would be interested. As a business person, I started asking him marketing questions. Well, who would be the target market? What would be the uses? Where would you put one of these shipping containers? So we began discussing all of the possibilities and all of the potential problems that we would have in this business. On January 1, 2014, we started our business, Rhino Cubed, to build tiny structures at the intersection of art and sustainability. 5 days later, committing to Sam that I would work on the business plan and the marketing plan from the road, I took off with my Airstream on an adventure that would change my life. Now let me describe Stella. She is a tiny 16-foot vintage Airstream. One of those shiny, polished like a mirror, little upside-down bathtubs that you sometimes see along the road. She is a masterpiece of design. She is an icon. Airstream was started in 1931 by Wally Byam, a designer who had a dream to build tiny trailers, travel trailers, that would flow like a stream of air, be small enough they could be towed by a car, and would provide first-class accommodation no matter where you were. I had bought Stella on eBay a couple of years before. My daughter was a designer she was working for Gulfstream as an interior designer for million-dollar airplanes. She was able to get slightly flawed interior materials, and she and her husband refurbished Stella. She looked like the interior of a million-dollar airplane. Full-grain leather seating with contrasting piping and stitching, ebony paneling, 3-form composite fiber storage units. You get the picture. Now, how many of you are following President Schultz on Twitter? So those of you that are may know that he also owns an Airstream. But they are nothing similar, let me tell you. His does provide the first-class accommodations. Stella, not so much. Under the covers of all that airplane glitz, not much is working. When I took her out, the heater erupted like a dragon with fire. The copper tubing was leaking because it had burst. I couldn't get the refrigerator to light. I had one problem after another. But I loved Stella. Whenever I would drive into a campground, people would flock to see her. And why is that? Because of her iconic design. Sam was using me as a test case for living small and off-grid. I was testing my water and propane use, monitoring the solar battery storage, and testing out a new heater that was using denatured alcohol. Stella's interior architecture became the model that inspired the kitchen layout and the storage of our first shipping container unit. 13 national parks and 5,000 miles later, I had learned to live small and without any modern conveniences. I'd become the master problem solver and had lived in our country's glorious natural spaces with no modern conveniences, using very few resources. I had taken thousands of pictures and blogged about the experience. In the meantime, Sam was back in Colorado building our first Rhino Cube with his own hands. He was making insulation, roofing, plumbing decisions, and really getting hands-on experience that he had never gotten before as an architect. He designed and created, and then built this tiny little artistic off-grid living unit from a 20-foot shipping container. A labor of love, we called her Zulu Queen, after a kick-ass ski run at Telluride, Colorado. We launched this little unit on Earth Day of last year. I had always appreciated the design and artistry that architects, landscape architects, and interior architects can naturally display. But what I didn't understand was what incredibly great problem solvers you are. I learned this time and time again with all of my experiences with Sam. What we're doing at Rhino Cubed is upcycling a shipping container that would otherwise become nature's waste. And by building small, we're using fewer resources, and the user or the owner over time will use much fewer natural resources. But what I love the most is that we're blending art with sustainability through the use of design, material use, and artistic finishes, which give individuality and quality of a custom home in a small package. It has been said that entrepreneurship is defined as brilliant opportunities disguised as unsolvable problems. And we have faced plenty of problems. Not everyone is into new thinking, particularly the home building industry, including zoning and planning departments, builders, bankers, almost everyone. We have not yet found land in Colorado that is zoned for small housing communities. We have found homeowners associations with ultra-restrictive covenants. Codes from long-term do not work in small spaces, and there is no financing for shipping container homes. So these are just a few of the roadblocks that we have faced. For those of you graduating in planning, I hope you'll work on some of these issues, and please move to Colorado. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. So we're continuing to push for regulatory change and acceptance of new ideas while continuing to make our own changes in our business. We hope to be known someday as the team that built the dynamically different mobile home park with these artistic little cubes spread around with other community buildings, incredibly environmentally friendly landscaping, art, and more. This will be a place where people want to live, not where they have to live. And what about you? You've gotten one of the best educations in the world, steeped in sustainability. You understand how to attack the problem, and most of your generation buys into the need. What will be your challenges? You will be balancing the competing issues of client needs, zoning and regulations, Mother Nature, gravity, and your own metrics and aspirations, aesthetic and otherwise. You'll be trying to convince bureaucrats that their old ways of thinking need to be changed. In fact, you might have to work with compatriots and bosses and clients to change their way of thinking. My wish for each of you as designers and architects and planners is that you take this incredible education you've received at Kansas State and you look at the world through your unique lens, and you continue to expand your vision through travel, which is so important, using all of your senses, and constantly challenge your own assumptions. Become today's problem solvers, and be the agent of change that our society and our earth needs you to be. And I hope one of you creates something like an Airstream that will be iconic in 100 years from now. I drove here from Colorado with Stella Rose. I will leave Manhattan today to go on the next phase of my journey to the South Dakota National Parks. And I leave feeling very, very confident, because I see before me the optimism and the talent that is this graduating class of 2015, and I know our future is very bright. Thank you.
Don't leave yet. I got it in this one. Jan, thank you so much for a wonderful message, not only of the importance of design and planning, but really giving a wonderful charge to our graduates. And we appreciate it, and we have a empty wrapped package as a token of your. It's not really empty, but it is small. Okay, that was fantastic. Each year, the college and university recognize individuals have generally contributed their time and expertise to the benefit of our students, faculty, profession, and society. This year, we'll be honoring Don Crawford as the recipient of the Distinguished Service Award. Don, would you please come here while I talk about you? All right. Don Crawford is the manager of the Information Technology Services for the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design. A native of Rock Falls, Illinois, Don entered military service out of high school and served 2 tours in Germany and 2 tours at Fort Riley as a member of the U.S. Army Signal Corps. He is a decorated veteran of the Southwest Asia Desert Shield and Desert Storm programs. He's a graduate of Manhattan Area Technical College and was employed by Flint Hills Computers, working his way through school, and was on the team that established the first commercial internet service for the Manhattan area. I had no idea you were that old. He serves as a committee chair for the K-State Faculty Senate's Committee on Technology. In 1997, Don joined the team of AP Design as the go-to for all things related to computing and networking. He likes to share the story of a tour of Seton Hall during his initial interview. There was a single stretch of coax cable strung from a faculty office through the studios for a network and a small desktop PC being used as a server. The college needed help, and I feared it needed a lot more help than I could provide. That's not the case. Enhancing and expanding IT services through facility renovations and equipment acquisition have been his priority. By facilitating and implementing the environment by which faculty practice and students learn, he has been influencing AP Design pedagogy for 2 decades. Don works hand in hand with our faculty and students to ensure our needs are being met. I have to say that in our world, and most of you understand this, those in charge of our connective digital technologies are often lightning rods for complaint and frustration. Not the case with Don Crawford. He's not only helped us meet the evolving digital explosion in our disciplines, but he has also been prescient in meeting our needs before we even knew they existed. As a dean, I can safely say that we owe much of our consistent excellence to Don's leadership in this realm, as well as his engagement in the larger campus community. On top of that, he's a joy to work with. So please help me honor Don Crawford. Don, I also have a small plaque for you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the many and varied contributions of all the parents, families, and friends of our graduates. This also gives you a chance to stretch your legs. Would you please stand up so that we can see you and clap for you? How's that? One of the wonderful parts of this ceremony is my opportunity to announce the awards and honors for exceptional performance that some of our students have received from professional societies, honor societies, the state, university, colleges, and departments. Each honor or award is briefly described in the supplement to your commencement brochure. Each recipient will be asked to stand and then be seated, and after all the awards have been noted, we will ask them to stand and do a resounding applause. For the Steelcase Next Competition Grand Prize winner, a national award, Emma Montgomery. Emma, she's fourth year, I'm sorry. She's not great. Clap for her for next year, we'll do it, all right, yeah. Well, we're off to a rousing start. Now we're moving back to second year. We want next to recognize the Oz Journal editors, James Chenault and Lauren Harness. James. The ARCC King Student Medal for Excellence in Architecture. The recipient is Catherine Lizzie. Catherine. By the way, this, for some students, is the first time they're aware of their award. Tau Sigma Delta Bronze Medal, Aaron Bish. Aaron. In the Department of Architecture, the Alpha Rho Chi Medal goes to Rebecca Roberts. Rebecca. Every year we try to hold the applause to the end, but we're incapable of it. That's okay. The American Institute of Architects Henry Adams Medal and Certificate goes to Janelle Tenigkite. Janelle. The American Institute of Architects Henry Adams Certificate of Excellence, Rebecca Roberts. The John F. Helm Award goes to Robia Ahmed Qureshi. Every year we have the Kramer Prize. And the Kramer Prize is for collaborative work in the 5th year. And 2 Kramer Prize nominations include Lindsay Brockhouse, Owen Cobb, Derek Huffmeyer, who were in Vladimir Kristich KCDC studio and worked on a project entitled The Living Link. And in addition, their competition for the Kramer Prize included Wendy Lai, Brian Delaney, Devin Brown, Ian Cole, Eric Dernbach, Brandon Eversgard, Valerie Gogan, Anna Grappoli, Riley Haney, Tanner James, Lauren Harness, Andy McAllister, Alex Palmer, Joshua Regali, and Meredith Stoll, who were in David Dowell's Design Make Studio, worked on a project called Making the Mark. And the Kramer Prize winning team is David Dowell's Design Make Project Studio, Making the Mark. Would you all stand up, please? The Heinzelman Prize goes to fifth-year students in architecture for individual design work. And we had 3 nominees this year. Brandon Lambrick in Professor Nathan Howe's studio for the project entitled Light of the World Catholic Church. Dane Sussman in Professor Genevieve Baudon's and visiting Rainier Chair Stephen Ehrlich's studio for the project entitled The Triangle. And Paul Whitkert in Professor Todd Gabbert's studio, project entitled the Kinsley Art Center. And the recipient of the 2015 Heinzelman Prize is Dane Sussman. Dane. In Interior Architecture and Product Design, the Jack C. Durgan Interior Architecture and Product Design Award goes to Teague Peak. Teague. Remain standing because you also are the recipient of the Outstanding Product Design Award. Way to go, team. The Outstanding Furniture Design Award goes to Elizabeth Statterman. Elizabeth. And the Outstanding Interior Architecture Design Award goes to Morgan Stafford. Morgan. The James Dubois Outstanding Graduating Senior Award recipient is Sarah Swain. Sarah. The Interior Architecture and Product Design Student Leadership Awards go to Nicole Fink and Erin Bish. Nicole, Erin. And the Eugene T. McGraw Scholastic Award winner is Caitlin Molinar. Caitlin. For the Department of Landscape Architecture, Regional and Community Planning, the Master's Landscape Architecture Outstanding Graduate Student Award goes to Abigail Glastetter. Abigail. The Outstanding Graduate Research Award recipient is Sydney Jones. Sydney. The Dr. Robert P. Ely Award recipient is Ross Duvall. Ross. And the L.R. Quinlan Award to Glenn Jarrett. Glenn. The Landscape Architecture Foundation Olmsted Scholar. This year's scholar is Catherine Lisey. Catherine. The American Society of Landscape Architects Honor and Merit Awards. This year receiving honor awards are Ashley Brewster and Catherine Lisey. And those receiving merit awards are Elizabeth Haddix and Gabriella Weber. The American Institute of Certified Planners Outstanding Student Award in Regional Community Planning is Eric Connor. Eric. And the Outstanding Master's Report goes to Ryan Kasarek. Ryan. And now, would all the recipients please stand so we can finally recognize you with a round of applause. So. Before we announce the graduates, would Brad Seidner join me at the lectern? Mr. Seidner is the Senior Vice President and CFO of the Kansas State University Alumni Association and will make some brief comments to our graduates and audience.
Well, good morning, graduates. And again, welcome, family and friends. On behalf of the Kansas State Alumni Association, representing over 175,000 living graduates of Kansas State, we'd like to offer our congratulations on this special accomplishment here today. We're also here to welcome you into a new relationship with your alma mater. Our mission at the Alumni Association is to lead and inspire lifelong involvement that will benefit Kansas State University and all members of the Wildcat community. I'd like to share 3 core values that help guide us in our mission to keep you connected to K-State. The first value is link. The Alumni Association provides a lifelong link that alumni depend upon to remain connected to the university. You can stay in touch through hundreds of alumni activities on campus, across the country, and even internationally. Another value is tradition. Today, you will likely celebrate a few traditions, such as singing the alma mater, or even taking the KSU photo at your favorite spot on campus. And the third value is purple. That's right, the K-State color purple. For us K-Staters, purple is more than a color. It's a symbol of pride and connection, because when you see someone wearing K-State purple or a K-State class ring, you immediately feel that sense of family. I'd also like to share that in recognition of your graduation today, the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design and the Alumni Association are providing you with a complimentary 1-year membership to the Alumni Association. And we hope you'll always be an active member of your Alumni Association. K-State alumni are among the most loyal in the nation. In fact, you are now part of the #1 alumni association in the Big 12 Conference that has been #1 for 19 consecutive years for our percentage of graduates that are members. Well, that loyalty is shared worldwide by generations of K-Staters who have the same passion for K-State that you feel today as you earn your degree from one of the finest universities in the nation. The Alumni Association is also pleased to present to you a gift that was on your chairs when you came in today, an exclusive alumni business card holder. And we hope you enjoy it. And as you go through life and your titles and addresses change, please be sure to keep us updated, because we want to make sure that you always stay connected to your K-State family. So again, congratulations on your achievement here today. Be proud of your university, wear your purple with pride, and as always, let's go K-State.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. During the presentation of the degree candidates and recognition of the recipients of graduate degrees, members of national and professional honor societies will be announced. This includes a member of Phi Kappa Phi, an honor society dedicated to the unity and democracy of education and open to honoring students from all disciplines who are in the top 10% of their class, members of Tau Sigma Delta Honor Society in Architecture and the Allied Arts, and members of Sigma Lambda Alpha Landscape Architecture Honor Society. Our graduates officially received their degrees during the graduate school ceremony held yesterday. Some of them actually even attended. We congratulate them. Today in our ceremony, as faculty, family, and friends, we will recognize our master's degree recipients by presenting them with their diploma covers. As described in your program, hoods are worn only by persons holding graduate degrees. Hoods are lined with the colors of the university. The binding or edging of the hood is the color pertaining to the subject of the degree. The color for architecture is light purple, for interior architecture and product design, navy blue, for landscape architecture, brown, and for regional community planning, peacock blue. The Doctor of Philosophy is dark blue. Would Associate Dean Lynn Awano please come forward to present the degree candidates?
Would the recipients of the Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Design and Planning please rise and come forward? Professors Tim Kane and Professor John Keller, both major professors, will hood the recipients and join Dean Tim DeNoble, President Schultz, in congratulating each recipient. Professor David Sachs will read the names of the graduates.
First recipient is Catherine Jo Burke. Our second recipient is Miraz Kalegi.
Would the recipients of the Master of Architecture please rise and come forward? Professor Matthew Knox, head of the Department of Architecture, will join Dean DeNoble and President Schultz in congratulating the recipients of the Master of Architecture. Professor Todd Gabbard will read the names of the graduates.
Kelsey Lynn Engel. Thomas William Bach. Nicholas Remy Barron. Ryan James Beasley. Holly Ann Bergman. Renee Catherine Bresson. Lindsay Marie Brockhouse. Devin Matthew Brown. Laura Elizabeth Brown. Adam Lloyd Bugley. Daniel Paul Carter. James Artel Chenot. Tyler Jordan Clark. Owen Cobb. Ian McCain Cole. Brian Joseph Conklin. Kyle Christopher Cooper. Ashley Nicole Cunningham. Brian Edward Delaney. Eric August Dernbach. Brandon Douglas Eversgerd. Gary Lee Fike. Valerie Suzanne Gaughan. Anna Gail Gropoli. Catherine Amelia Gutierrez. Riley Jacob Haney. Lauren Renee Harness. Roger Scott Hetty. Kelsey Lynn Helland. Nicholas Michael Naschenko. Megan Marie Hohensinner. Derek Huffmeyer. Tanner Scott James. Christiana Marie Johnson. Kenneth Samuel Casper. Rachel Ray Kelsey. Wendy Lai. Brandon Curtis Lambrecht. Stephen Tyler Leask. Huanjing Li. Kelsey Marie Lind. Chrysalyn Jade Lundberg. Rebecca Catherine Lyons. Cameron Peyton Marshall. Jose Martinez Hiron. Andy Joseph McAllister. Sarah Margaret McDonald. Ethan J. Merritt. Dominic Joseph Mousseau. Nicholas David Nelson. Nathan Walter Niewald. Benjamin Gilbert Ose. Alexander Philip Otto. Alex Andrew Palmer. Crystal Marie Patton. Kevin Joseph Perks. Renee Louise Petty. Han Doan Mifon. Joshua Hilton Regali. Dominique Roberson. Don't want to give them the wrong degree. Rebecca Marie Roberts. Have to wait a moment here. Dylan Thomas Rupar. Tinfan C. Nicholas Ivan Simon. Matthew Carl Screen. Meredith Hart Stahl. Dane Robert Sussman. Lawrence Tan. Brian Lamont Temple, Jr. Janelle Nicole Tenekite. Sarah Ann Todachik. Timothy Jerry C. Samantha Louise Y. Paul Allen Wickert. Samuel Wood Wilson. Kennedy Year.
Would the Master of Science in Architecture please rise and come forward? Professor Matthew Knox, head of the Department of Architecture, will join Dean Tim DeNoble and President Schultz in congratulating the recipients. Professor Todd Gabbard will read the names of the graduates.
Rabia Qureshi. Maria Cecilia Roca.
Would the recipients of the Master of Interior Architecture and Product Design please rise and come forward? Professor Catherine Ankerson, Department Head of the Department of Interior Architecture and Product Design, will join Dean Tim DeNoble and President Schultz in congratulating the recipients of the Master of Interior Architecture and Product Design. Assistant Professor Dustin Headley will read the names of the graduates.
Aaron Eugene Bish, Mortarboard Senior Honor Society. Rachel Elizabeth Botten. Abby Elizabeth Buckman. Rutvik Shashank Tate. Brian Charles Davis. Anthony Patrick Dorrell. Nicole May Finke, Leadership Studies. James Dylan Howe, with an emphasis in Leadership Studies. Laura Emma Kreckmeyer. Rachel Elizabeth Mayhill. Caitlin Avalon Molinar, Tau Sigma Delta. Caitlin Marie Nigis, with a minor in business. Teague Charles Peak. Hannah Joy Paulus. Catherine Jordan Pruser. Elizabeth Statterman. Morgan Chandler Stafford. Brianna Noelle Stevens. Sarah Marie Swaim. Kunyanwe? Kunyanwe. We got some big fans up there. Kenya Williams. And last but not least, Abigail Graham Zoner.
Would the recipients of the Master of Landscape Architecture please rise and come forward? Professor Stephanie Raleigh, head of the Department of Landscape Architecture and Regional Community Planning, will join Dean Tim DeNoble and President Schultz in congratulating the recipients of the Master of Landscape Architecture. Associate Professor Katie Kingery Page will read the names of the graduates.
Dale Dylan Bradley. Ashley Marie Brewster. Diane Mary Kachara. Danielle Sally Diorcy. James Ross DeVault. Rachel Elizabeth Fox. Abigail Rose Glastetter. Elizabeth Ann Haddix. Congratulations. Stephen Todd Holt. Glenn Patrick Jarrett. Sydney Jones. Catherine Marie Lizey. Michelle Lynn McElroy. Nicholas Edward Mercado. Natalie Lynn Webb. Gabriella Nicole Weber. Craig Weber. Benjamin Timothy Williamson. Yu Liu.
Would the recipients of the Master of Regional and Community Planning please rise and come forward? Professor Stephanie Raleigh, Dean Tim DeNoble, and President Schultz will congratulate the recipients of the Master of Regional and Community Planning. Associate Professor Katie Kingery Page will read the names of the graduates.
Eric Matthew Connor. Joseph Benjamin Foster. Ryan Lee Kasarek. Taylor Marie Ricketts. Dominic Ruiz. Alexis Emily Stensland.
Will the recipients of the Master of Community Development please rise and come forward? Professor Stephanie Raleigh, Head of the Department of Landscape Architecture and Regional Community Planning, along with Dean Tim DeNoble and President Schultz, will congratulate the recipients of the Master of Regional and Community Planning. Associate Professor Katie Kingery Page will read the names of the graduates.
Lakeisha Shani Glover. Nathan Christopher Bramson. Lester Lloyd Limon II.
Each year, the graduating classes, along with the faculty and department heads, select representatives to speak at the commencement ceremony. This year, our speakers will be Kelsey Angle, graduate in architecture, Brianna Stevens, graduate in interior architecture and product design, Betsy Haddix, graduate in landscape architecture, and Ryan Kasarek, graduate in regional and community planning. Would the four of you please come forward and share your remarks?
How's it going, guys? Okay, before I get started, I would like to take a couple of moments and thank all of the friends and family in attendance here today, because in a minute, I actually won't be talking to you guys at all. I'll be talking to them. So thank you for all of your love, and thank you for all of your support, and thank you for everything you have done to help each of us earn our seat on this stage today. We truly, truly could not have done it without you. So thanks. Okay, so graduates. I'm gonna be honest, I YouTubed famous graduation speeches for inspiration when I was writing this. I got a lot of hits from high school valedictorian speeches, like my brother, Kyle. Hey, Kyle, how you doing? Good, okay. I also got a lot of hits from celebrities giving speeches at ceremonies, and I found that Animal House speech, you know, like the, let's do it, that, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, well, they were all great, but none of them were helpful, and they weren't helpful because they didn't apply to us. As architecture students, we are a rare breed, and our college experience is unlike anybody else's, except maybe at times it was a little bit like Animal House. But anyway, the point is we all fought tooth and nail for this master's degree, and it's the reason we're all sitting on this stage today. So I'd like to take the next couple of minutes and remind you of everything you've lived through in the past 5 or more years to get to where you are today. You have endured grueling studio critiques that have lasted way past 5 o'clock on Fridays. You have stayed up countless nights to get ready for those critiques, and you have probably gone way longer without showering than anybody needs to know, so you can keep that to yourselves. You have redesigned your entire project the night before a studio review. Your models have been dropped or broken or torn apart by you and your professors. Your favorite pen has exploded all over your final drawings, or even if it didn't, the printer ran out of ink, or the laser bed caught on fire. You have dripped sweat and blood on your drafting desk, and you have spilled coffee all over your keyboard. And speaking of coffee, you have consumed more caffeine than any human metabolism should ever have to process. You have sat through hours of digital architecture videos, or at least you said you did. You have walked to the Union and back upwards of like 1,000,000 times to get more supplies or food or coffee. And you have cursed and battled your way through every computer crash, every misdrawn section, and every model wall glued on backwards, and we know there were a lot of those. My point is, because all of that, you didn't just do college, you crushed it. You climbed the Everest of college majors, and you lived to tell the tale. So my point is not to focus on the negative, but to remind you that everything you have been through, all of the emotional and physical turmoil, has made you strong, and it has made you smart. You did not just get a piece of paper. You owned your education, and never forget that. So let's take today to celebrate everything we've accomplished. Let's take this one moment to remember everything we've been through and how we've grown as a family. I would like to leave you with the words of philosopher and rapper Eminem, because I believe his words really embody the spirit of celebration and everything we have achieved. You better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You've only got one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Congratulations, class of 2015.
All right, well, thank you, Kelsey, for making that really hard to follow. Okay. I'll do my best to represent IAPD better than she represented architecture. We'll see. So, friendly competition, it's friendly. First of all, thanks to friends, family for being here on our big day. It was 5 years in the making. Some of you have heard a lot about our time here. Some of you probably not so much. I think I fell off the face of the earth for 5 years. Thank you, faculty, for guiding us through those 5 years, making them what they were, which was really hard, and rewarding, but mostly really hard. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little story about myself. When I was in 7th grade, we were asked to create an entire timeline of what we wanted our lives to look like. You know, you're 13, you think, I totally have this. I know exactly what everything's gonna look like. And I was already thinking about design as a profession, so I said, okay, I'm gonna go to architecture school. That only takes 4 years. I'll graduate in 2014, and then my big break into the design community is gonna be designing the Olympic Stadium for the 2016 Olympics. I mean, that gives me 2 whole years to single-handedly design an Olympic venue and have it constructed. That's how it works, right? So needless to say, that wasn't maybe the best, but it got more realistic from there. So after that, I was going to make my first million, make my first billion, become the first female president of the United States. I just didn't expect Hillary to beat me to it, so that's too bad. And finally, I was going to write and star in the Broadway musical chronicling my life, because it was going to be a really awesome life, and who wouldn't want to watch that? So the plan has changed. I messed it up right away by not getting an architecture degree. I came here and I discovered this interior architecture, furniture design, product design realm, and I absolutely fell in love. I went, this is way more interesting to me, and it made me happier. And so that's my point. We can make all the plans we want to make, but nothing's final. It's never too late to change your plan. It's never too late to choose to be happy, because yes, happiness is a choice. It's not something that just happens to us. It's a choice we make day in and day out. And so I made that choice a few years ago, and I'm really pleased with it, and I think all my classmates are as well. So I'm gonna leave you with this one thing, because I think I'm technically over my allotted minutes, but oh well. So there's a theory that after 10,000 hours of practicing a specific task, you are officially a master. You've mastered that skill. You're all queued up for success in that industry. So 10,000, I went, oh my gosh, that's so intimidating. It's not. 10,000 hours is the same as working 40 hours a week for 5 years. Does that sound familiar? I think so. Although the 40 seems a bit low. But I don't think there's a single person on this stage who doubts that we've put forth that work. We really mastered something here. It's more than creative methods of procrastination. It's more than all those little lies that we learn to tell, like, oh yeah, my model, it's just downstairs being, spray painted. What? No one believed that. What we actually mastered was problem solving. We mastered this critical design thinking, and that is something worth celebrating. And so congratulations, graduates, but more than anything, more than I thank you, more than I thank the faculty, I just want to thank all of you, because like Kelsey said, you guys were my college experience, and I had an absolutely incredible time. Thank you so much.
Hi. Congratulations to everybody on this stage. Good job, and especially the Masters of Landscape Architecture. Good job. Yeah, and thanks to everyone who helped get us here as well. I really appreciate it. And I originally thought that I was going to share some stories with you from our time here, but even the one about Abby splitting her pants in design graphics would take more than 3 minutes. So instead, I'm just going to follow up on what Brianna said, and I'm going to talk about choosing to be happy. And I'll share some pieces of advice that I've gotten about choosing to be happy, and there are 3 parts. So part 1 is don't overthink it. Don't overthink it, right? Because overthinking it is overthinking it. You're overdoing it, and it leads to stress and not happiness. So don't overthink it. Okay, that's part 1. But how do you get there? And that's part 2. You don't overthink things by simplifying the questions. So take the maybes out of the equation. And when I say that, I mean, ask yourself, can I emphatically say yes to this? And if not, then emphatically say no, because we only have so much time, and we should really dedicate ourselves to what we have. So let's do things purposefully and passionately. And don't take this advice too far, right? Because we all had to be in studio when we didn't want to, but that's because we were saying yes to today, to graduation. So say yes to your big goals. And how do you choose your big goals? Number 3, be passionate. And this is self-explanatory, but also really important, because what you're passionate about is what you can say yes to, and that helps you be happy. And passion leads to happiness in another way. It takes insecurity out of the equation. If you're passionate about a problem, then you're worried about solving the problems and not about what other people think of you. So be passionate. It helps you stay happy. And I asked some of our professors, actually, what they thought of our class, and they thought that we were all perfect and we deserved 2 diplomas each. Just kidding. They didn't say that, but they did say that we were a really unique class, LAs, because we're passionate about so many different things. Everyone has their own niche, and at the same time, we're really supportive of each other. And I think that's so great. It means that we really respect each other, and that we're kind to each other, and that since we're passionate about so many different things, we can solve so many problems. And I'm so excited to see where we end up. So let's stay supportive and stay passionate, because that'll help us be happy. And to get us started on following our passions and not overthinking things, I have changed some of the lyrics to a famous song because I'm passionate about changing the lyrics of famous songs. That's an emphatic yes for me. And the original is Dobie Gray's Drift Away, so everyone get ready. Yeah, here we go. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I want to get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Give us the beat, boys, and free our souls. We want to get away from Seton Hall. We want to move away. Give us diplomas and free our souls. We need to get jobs in the big kid world. We have our loans to pay. Anyway, Yeah, so thank you. That's that. And I love you all, MLAs, and everyone on this stage, and I'm so proud to be standing here with you guys, so congratulations.
I don't have a song for us to sing. When I originally put this together, I was like, yeah, I should sing a song, but then it's just, I can't do that, and you guys don't want me to do that either. First I want to say congrats to everybody here. Congrats to specifically my class, which is Regional Community Planning, all like 4 of us back there. It's really awesome that we're all up here. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time in planning school at K-State, and being able to represent my peers up here is really an incredible honor. I've been in school for 6 years now, one at a place we don't need to talk about. I'm here now, and I've loved it here, and this has been the best 5 years of my life. It's been great to share the honor, to learn the skills and the techniques for all of us to really be masters of regional community planning. And I, too, follow the same technique of consulting the internet on what to do with one of these speeches. And Wikipedia, which has gotten me through a lot of things that it shouldn't have, told me to write an outline. So I wrote an outline. And in this part of the speech, I said, write something describing planning in a poetic and eloquent way. But I'm not a poet, and you can probably tell I'm really not that eloquent of a person either. So that's a big problem, but I think kind of underneath all of my lack of fluidity is that planning is just really hard to describe. And so it's something that's almost indefinable. Planning is complex, and it's comprised of an infinite amount of problems, solutions, and roadblocks. Planning has no simple answer. Planning has no simple definition. Planning attempts to solve multiple problems had by multiple people in multiple places through multiple things. It's very difficult to really say this is what a planner does, and it's something that we almost all of us, I think the profession maybe, it's something that we're going to address throughout our career. But I think it's here that I give my definition to planning. Planners are people who care. They care about equality and justice. They care about a fair process, about an all-encompassing decision-making process. They care about making places beautiful and functional, healthy and vibrant. Planners care about change. They foster change. They encourage and create change, whether they are striving for economic, social, political, psychological, or some other kind of change. Planners operate with the desire to foster this change. In a lot of ways, planners can kind of be seen in the concept of momentum. Whether you get the ball rolling, you keep the ball rolling, you direct the ball to the right place you hopefully want it to go to. And planners do all of this action under the lens of being caring about where they're at. This is something that I think we've all inherently had, but I think it's been reinforced and learned in our times here. We picked it up through all of that same stuff that we've heard laminated here before me. It's tough, it's hard work, but it's necessary work. It's something that we can do. And I know for certain that I am incredibly proud and incredibly happy that I got to learn the momentum I was going to use and to learn just what it means to care about where people live and how the world interacts for them. And it's really exciting. I'm really happy I could learn it here with all you guys. And again, thank you for letting me talk, and congrats to everybody here.
Wow. As evidenced by our student speakers, we are sending the next wave of AP design graduates into the world, not only to bolster the ranks of the professions, but obviously of the societies they serve in a fun way, too. So congratulations to all of you. And remember, all you graduates, you're entering another dimension. As alumni, you will carry the aura of K-State with you. As your reputation grows, so does that of the college. In a beautiful and parallel manner, as the college continues to be recognized for its quality, you benefit by invoking your AP Design K-State heritage. make us proud, and please know that we will continue to strive to do the same. So maybe we could just take a second and give one more round of applause to our graduates. And so as we begin the second half of our ceremony, I can't quote from Eminem, but I do have a pretty good quote from a wonderful author. You may know him if you ever read The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, in his wonderful, timeless book, Wind, Sand, and Stars. And I was going to cut this quote, but then I realized that we had an aviator in our midst, and I still love this. Although he was speaking of pilots and airplanes, I think his words are beautifully applied to these freshly minted design and planning professionals and the tools of inquiry that they've gained while here. And I quote, "Precisely because it is perfect, the machine dissembles its own existence instead of forcing itself upon our notice. Thus, the realities of nature resume their pride of place. It is not with metal that the pilot is in contact. Contrary to this vulgar illusion, it is thanks to the metal and by virtue of it that the pilot rediscovers nature. The machine does not isolate man from the great problems of nature, but plunges him more deeply into them." And in so many ways, I think that your knowledge does the same. So, now, please rise as the brass quintet will lead us in the singing of Kansas State University's alma mater. The alma mater is printed inside the front cover of your program so that everyone can sing along. The college faculty and staff are pleased to invite you to attend a reception immediately following the ceremony in the Pierce Commons of Seton Hall. Much of the work of our graduates is on display around Seton Hall, although maybe not in as great a numbers as in the past. This will probably be remembered as the class that ruined Seton Hall, because this summer we will be begin to prepare to replace significant portions of Seton Hall. So we're very excited about our project in the future and very excited that you'll get to go through there one time. Please don't remove any of Seton Hall yet, okay? So, marshals, we ask that the audience remain seated while the quintet plays the recessional until the graduates and faculty have left the auditorium. Thank you for coming to our Spring 2015 Commencement celebration. Have a safe, wonderful trip home. Graduates, prepare to recess.